Hey guys, this is Ecstatic069 and I'm bringing you a review of the Xbox One controller today. The first thing you'll notice about the new controller is that it's a lot larger than the old Xbox 360 controller. Reason being is it just feels a lot better in your hand. And I know a lot of people consider the old Xbox 360 controller the best controller ever made, but the Xbox One controller brings a lot of new improvements to an already great controller without ruining it or making it worse. Alright, so one of the new additions to the Xbox One controller is now it is actually capable of becoming a wired controller. You see here there's a little USB slot where you can actually plug in a cord that you'll plug into your Xbox, which making it a wired controller, which before on the Xbox 360 you would have to buy a wired Xbox 360 controller if you wanted to use a wired controller instead of a wireless. So now it's more like a Razer Naga where you are able to switch it out from wireless to wired. Another great part of the Xbox One controller is its added rumble settings. It actually has 4 rumble motors now instead of just 1 or 2. I forget how many are on the old one, but it's got 2 small rumble motors in the triggers, which gives it, a very uncanny feel. And that's something that the PS4 controller doesn't do. And I know, it's a really unique feeling. When you're playing a shooter, you feel when you're shooting a machine gun or a submachine gun or a sniper rifle, they all have unique feels. Or when you're playing a racing game like Forza, you're going to feel the apex. It's going to vibrate and you're going to know you're hitting the apex. So it's another reminder and it makes the gameplay a little bit easier. Whereas the old Xbox controllers, when they would just buzz and vibrate, when explosions happens, and it just felt like it vibrating, and it wasn't really. It was just crazy, But the new Xbox controller, you can actually understand why it's vibrating a little bit better, and it actually puts you into the game a little bit more, and it just helps out a lot. It's really cool. Another big improvement for the new controller is the thumbsticks. Now these thumbsticks have a rough grip around the edges, making it harder to slip off, and they're actually concave on the inside. So that means your fingers kind of stick in there and it's harder for them to slip as well, giving you more grip. It's actually similar to using something like FPS Freaks on the old Xbox 360 controller. It gives you that same sort of feel without having to buy anything extra. Another big improvement is the D-pad. The D-pad on the Xbox One controller is all individual buttons, whereas on the old controller it was one big button that kind of moved around in a circle, which means if you're playing Call of Duty and you want to use your D-pad for something, and you hit left, you might actually be hitting down instead of left, and it can just get annoying and mess you up during your game, and you don't want that. Another great part of the new controller is it just has a much more mechanical feel, whereas the old one was kind of stiff and just didn't have a very good feel to it. This one feels a lot nicer, a lot more mechanical, whereas this one kind of feels plasticky and cheap. This one seems like it's made out of a lot more high quality material. And I've had the controller for about 7 months now, and it looks exactly the same as it did on day one. This is the day one edition, and this is the Titanfall edition controller. And I've had the day one edition for 7 months, and it looks exactly the same. And I mean, my old Xbox controllers don't look bad, but I mean, there's scuffs and they got all dirty, and these are pristine. There's nothing wrong with them. And another cool part I think about the Xbox One controller is it lights up when you turn it on. So see, you get a cool, blue light coming out of the Xbox, just lighting it up, and it looks pretty awesome. Whereas the old one, it was green when it lights on. These don't have batteries in them, so I'm not going to turn them on. But I think this looks a lot cooler, and it's just overall, I think it's a good improvement. Now the bottom part is different from the old Xbox controller. it has a different, thing where you plug in your headphones, which makes it hard to use, any old Xbox 360 headsets. But they came out with the Xbox 360 adapter, which looks like this right here, and you just plug this thing in to your controller, and it allows you to plug in your old Xbox 360 headsets. So you don't have to buy a new Xbox One headset. You can use your old one. You just have to buy this adapter. It's like $25. It's not too expensive, and it comes with a little mute button and volume and some other stuff. It's pretty cool. And just overall, I think it's a great improvement on the old Xbox 360 controller. And yeah, well, thanks for watching, guys. Just remember to subscribe and comment below on any improvements I can make. Thank you.